All right. Hello, everyone. It is Saturday, so you might be surprised to see us, but Cade and I decided, you know what? It's the holiday season. We got some NFL games here on a big Sunday and a big Saturday today and a big Sunday card tomorrow. So let's do a little impromptu Saturday, 4 o'clock Rhythm live stream here, Cade. Looking forward to breaking down these games with you. Want to welcome everyone in, of course, to the Rhythm Rundown. Again, typically we're doing it Thursdays. Saturday, a little special one here that we can talk about these matchups. So Kate, I'm kind of excited because usually on Thursdays, it's like, okay, let's focus on this Thursday night game. And then those Sunday games are a few days away. So there can be movement between Thursday and Sunday. Sometimes you're happy because you get a dog 7.5, and by Sunday they're 7 or 6.5. You're feeling great. Or maybe you play, a dog +7, and now by Sunday they're up to 7.5 or 8. And you're like, ooh, CLV's going against me. So I'm kind of excited that we get to talk about these two games for today, which are right around the corner. So we're going to talk, of course, Texans and Chargers. Cade, these two games are like way different to me. Like, it's great that we can sweat these games, but like Houston Chargers, playoff teams, a lot on the line, short number, two good quarterbacks going at it. Then we're going to get to Baltimore, Green Bay, where it's Tyler Huntley, Malik Willis. This thing's kind of been back and forth with all these quarterback changes. Both games are super low totals as well. So we're going to talk about those games for today, as well as some player props. And then, Cade, you and I were kind of talking right before the show started. Bunch of games that are kind of really exciting in terms of a rhythm edge. So as we like to use rhythm, in particular, the way I like to use it is looking at what the betting market is doing and then saying, okay, the line's moving in this direction. This team with the line move is checking off some, bet split boxes as well as betting system matches. And then rhythm is telling me, okay, I like this dog +3. Rhythm's got them +1.2. So there's a few games here where we're getting some line moves, and rhythm is saying, okay, even though it's moved, telling you it's a good sign that the money's in the direction of that team, there's still an edge from a rhythm perspective. So Seahawks Panthers is one we're going to talk about, Eagles and Bills, Jacksonville and Indianapolis, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and then maybe we'll throw in a few player props there as well. But Cade, welcome to you, buddy. How was your holiday? Did you get everything you wanted? Did Santa give you everything you wanted? You told me you're 2-0 on bowl games today, so congrats, and good to see you on a Saturday, buddy.
Peak degenerate hours here at the household. Had morning college football between whoever you want to call it. We had like the 4th-string backups from some random FCS school getting playing time today, and he finally decided just to hit the button, just enjoy the Saturday. Why not? That's what we're here. That's why we do. But yeah, stuffed my face full of ham this past week, these past couple of days. Having leftovers today. We're right back at it. So yeah, we're ready to circle back at the table.
Love it, man. Well, hopefully we'll circle back to the table with some winning tickets in our hand. That's always the goal. And yeah, just a quick comment on bowl games. Like, some people have asked, like, are you going to hit on a lot of these bowl games? I want to save a lot of our analysis, Cade, for the college football playoff, because I think with bowl games versus these college football playoff games, there's just a completely different approach that you can take with these ones. So when you're looking at these bowl games, to me, it's huge on research that you have to do before the game starts. So obviously we're going to pay attention to what did the line open at? How has it moved? You see a big move, that's probably opt-outs and, guys in the transfer portal and injuries and all this kind of stuff, coaching changes. But it's really a lot having to do with Googling these teams and figuring out who's playing and who isn't, and then getting a good number. And then also looking at, a line really shifting one way on news that a bunch of players are out and then kind of coming back the other way. So for an example, FIU and UTSA, early on, I was like, Florida International looks pretty good. UTSA is are going to miss a lot of their guys. And they were as high as -9.5. They got all the way down to -5.5. And I'm like, okay, FIU's taking some respected money. Then once they got bottomed out at 5.5, there was a huge wave back toward UTSA, back up to like 7.5. So to me, it's just super tricky. Like, unless you feel like you've done your research, who's playing and who isn't, you can get a good number. Like, if that's the case, fire away. But if not, I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, Kate, it's like, oh, there's a bowl game on. We don't have to work today. We got to bet it. Don't feel like you have to play these games, because again, you have to approach them way different from a regular season game, because again, there's opt-outs, transfers, all that kind of stuff. So just wanted to throw that at you. But before we dive into our games here for today, Cade, I want to share my screen and really talk about this awesome new feature that Rhythm has added. So if you look at your homepage now, and always keep an eye out for, the top of the homepage, this is where a lot of the new stuff is going to be shown. But let's just check out this parlay optimizer. Now, Cade, you know me a little bit by now. We've been doing shows for a while. I'm not a huge parlay guy in general because, again, you're trying to win multiple bets versus one. Therefore, it's going to be harder. Yes, the payout's better, but the books do make a lot of money off these parlays. But what if we can find a way to optimize parlays where we're not just taking the teams that we like and putting them all together, but actually thinking about how to optimize them in terms of increasing our chances of winning, which is always the goal. So this new parlay optimizer is really impressive. Rithmm did a ton of legwork to put this together. I would recommend watching some of these video tutorials. They're going to kind of walk you through how to use this to your advantage. Clicking on props or games, then you just click the optimizer. You have all of the directions here. So I would just recommend to people play around with it. And even if you don't want to bet it yet, check out a few that have, and we'll see these new icons. We're used to, Kate, a lot of these, green star recommendations or caution flags. But now there's a new one, this little parlay optimizer indicator. So it's pretty cool that if you like to bet parlays, Rithmm is now going to help you to make sure that you're picking off the best legs of a parlay. So if you're thinking like, okay, there's 5 games I like, well, maybe you cut it down to 3 or 4 and you focus on the ones that have the highest optimization, hopefully for you to cash your ticket. So play around for sure with the new parlay optimizer. And then if we also kind of look at some of these other angles, we always try to talk about, but enter the leaderboard contest. We also have our promo code START25 for 25% off. And we can also recommend and refer a friend. You both get a little bit of a sweetener there. So really the big one here is this new parlay optimizer. Awesome new feature, and goes to show you, if you like Rithmm never sleeps. They're always trying to, create a new feature to help us win, and that's pretty awesome. So shout out to Megan and Brian and the whole crew behind Rithmm for putting that together. With that being said here, Cade, let's talk about these games here for today. So don't want to waste too much more time because we have a game starting up here very shortly, Houston Texans and LA Chargers. This one is interesting, and we were kind of talking about it earlier, but it was kind of hard for me to find the true opening number for this game because, some books opened Houston -1.5. I saw some books Chargers -1, -1.5. We could probably split the difference and say it was around a pick'em game. That does also tell you, though, that odds makers have maybe slightly differing opinions on this game of who should be favored. So, again, that could play into the way you approach this thing. But it is pretty clear to me, Cade, that, we have moved a bit toward the Chargers. If you take the Chargers as a 1-point favorite or a pick'em or getting a 1.5, we've stayed pretty steady here on Chargers -1, -1.5. But if you pull up the line history, I did notice that I believe at some shops it got as high as Chargers -2.5. So that told me that there was a little bit of liability here on the Chargers and laying the points. And again, we always talk about, trying to protect yourself in money line short favorites. That's an angle that I'm looking at. So I'm going to go Chargers money line in this one. And what really backs me up that I feel a little confident about is Rithmm is kind of agreeing with me here. So it's a short number. Chargers are at home. Again, both these teams are, looking toward the playoffs. They're both playing great. They're both on pretty prolonged win streaks, especially for Houston. I think they've won 6, 7 in a row, something like that. But Chargers at home laying a short number. The public is split. It's basically 50-50 right down the middle. So anytime you're 50-50, to me, it's throwaway contrarian value. There's no drunk guys at the bar to fade. The drunk guys don't know what to do here, okay? We got half of them going Houston, half on Chargers. So no contrarian opportunities here. But I did notice at Circa, there's really good split on the Chargers money line. Only about 30% tickets, but nearly half the money. I did have a system as well. Both teams coming off a win. Take the home favorite. They're 24-10 straight up this year, 71%. They're 73% since 2022. You also have Herbert. When he's a favorite, straight up, he's 42-21, 67%. Stroud is a dog, 7-11, 39%. Then if we look at some of these models here from Rithmm, they're pretty much in unison with the Chargers. First model is a caution flag, pretty much right on the number, so not much of an edge, but at least it's not saying go the other way with Houston. This is the one that I'm excited about, though. It's 1.6, not a huge edge on a 1.5, but it is a green star smart signal recommended play. So remember, those smart signals are really kind of compiling not just the recommendation based on the Rithmm prediction, but the factors of this game and the conditions. Other teams in this spot, how have they performed? So in this spot, we have about a 67% hit rate, which does match with the Chargers. And then we go to money line. Again, I don't want to lay a 1.5 and lose by 1, which is exactly what happened with that Seattle game, Cade. Remember that? Winning by 1 there in overtime. But the money line here, all three of them lit up on the Chargers, all Green Star recommended plays. So add it all up. I'm going to go Chargers money line here. But talk to me about this one, Cade. And I do think there's a great teaser play. If you like Houston, 1.5 up to 7.5. But talk to me about your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I'll get with that because I had, you can call it kind of two angles in a way. First, Houston plus 1.5 what is my like full play in a way, but I did tease this one because of just like the value behind it and what my model said, because it's not going to be higher than 7. I can tell you that. I did tease this one with a long teaser for both games tonight, actually, which I'll get into that reasoning for the Baltimore game because that's my play in that one. But Texans plus 1.5. I think, in my personal opinion, I feel like the Chargers could be teetering on the overrated scale, maybe a tad, in my opinion. You beat really bad teams, and then you get beat by actual decent pulse competition in a way. You had a couple lucky wins, including a Philly win a couple weeks ago. And, I mean, you got to think about the Kansas City game if Pat doesn't get hurt in that game, how that game doesn't end, which they were leading and they had him in a pretty good spot. It's hard to kind of judge on that game. But either way, since all of these offensive line injuries, you get absolutely destroyed by Jacksonville. You beat the Raiders, and then, like I said, you have your 2 wins there, and then you beat Dallas, which is a team that is pretty much bottom 3 in the league in defense in almost every category, it feels like. I just feel like Houston is better, and the matchup favors them much more because you have not only the best defense in the league, pretty much, you have arguably the hottest team in the NFL right now at this point. And their offense is scaring me a little bit on Houston's side. I know you have, I'm blanking on his name. Is Woody Marks back this week? I believe he was listed as questionable. I know he's practicing a couple of times. I don't know if he's actually confirmed to be playing yet, but I played this assuming that he is. So there is not hardly any running game without that guy. Even if they're not running like fantastic, you know what I mean? Like, he's a valuable receiving option to CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud loves his checkdowns. if you've watched him this year, he's actually not being so aggressive. That's actually why his numbers are actually pretty decent this year. And what that does is that's going to open up all the explosive plays, in my opinion. And I think it's going to make the offense more flexible. If you want to look at the Chargers, I think you're kind of leaning towards a run-heavy, Harbaugh, Michigan-style kind of offense when you're just going to be ground and pound. But against Dallas, like I said, you're throwing 30-plus times. You're putting up 320-something yards probably. I think it's what they did. I don't know if I didn't watch that game, but I'm pretty sure it's what the box score had. Like, it's just that kind of game plan only works against the defense that has that kind of vulnerability, if you can kind of make that make sense in a way. And I'm not going to be fooled by that performance whatsoever. Everybody's offense looks like the 2016 Warriors when you're playing Dallas. You know, like, everything's going in, everything's scored, you're getting your passes to everybody. But since 2010, teams that have won by 17 or more as a dog of 7 or fewer, and the next week they are 68 and 121. That is 36% against the spread. So I like D'Amico Ryans. Also, it was a big-time dog fella. He's 16% ROI on the money line as a dog. I just can't fade this defense. The pass rush is elite. You have an offensive line that's banged up. You have Herbert who's banged up. You don't even know what he's looking like now. And, yeah, I'm at Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson. Just come off the edge and make something happen for us on the road, please, because it should be a really good game. I teeter on this one a lot because the value screams Chargers. And again, I've said this in a couple of other episodes as well, because we talked about the Rams, we talked about the Chargers playing in the same stadium. I don't factor in home field as much because if you've watched some of these games, it's not really like a home field advantage effect. It kind of feels like a neutral site for both teams, the way these guys like have fans in their stadium. It's kind of weird. But it's just not something I factor in because it's not affecting them as much as other teams are. So I like Houston despite the travel, and I think their defense is just going to make up and be the difference maker tonight, big time. Personally,
Yeah, great description there. You got me scared with my Chargers play there, Cade. So at least one of us will cash on this one. And who knows? What if Chargers win by 1? I get my money line. You get
we
your
can
one
vote.
and a
Yeah,
half. Yeah, everyone gets their Houston Texans teasers. So you make a great point there. I'm also looking at just when we're talking about teasers, I think there's a big distinction between the way the public approaches them and the way wise guys do. We really try to hammer home on this show that if you're going to tease games, you're looking at going through key numbers. That's the sharpest thing you can do as a bettor. So, for example, if you like a dog that's like +1.5 to +7.5, that is a teaser that has a lot of equity and a lot of value because 3 and 7 are your most kind of common margin 3 and 7. Therefore, if you can take a dog 1.5 to 7.5, that's providing a lot of value. So the other angle here when you're looking at a dog and teasing them up is a low total game. And let's talk about this total here for a second, Cade, because it was pretty much sitting 39.5. It really hadn't moved much of the week. And then on game day, and I'm a big person who respects game day movement, that's when limits are raised, big bets come in. It's very, we don't have the inactives quite yet officially. Probably have them right now because the game's upcoming. But pretty clearly who's playing and who isn't, and the big bets are rolling in because the books are now allowing their highest limits from sharp and big bettors here. So in terms of that total, I'm thinking, wow, Houston's got a fantastic defense. Chargers play pretty good defense as well. Houston doesn't score a ton, pretty clear under, right? Well, today it went up from 39.5 up to around 40.5, 41. So that did tell me you had some big money come in there on that over. If we look at, and I don't have a play on this total here, Cade, but I'm wondering if you do. If we look at Rhythm's recommendations, they are all on the over. So over 41, predicted 41.2. So again, not a huge edge, but it is technically higher than the current price. This one gives you a little more confidence, 45.8. And then the final prediction, 40.9. So I would love if I'm going to play this over. Like I think on the one hand, if you do like the over, an island game on the weekend, a lot of people are, still, celebrating their holidays here. So it's going to be extremely heavily bet. I typically don't want to play an over in those spots. Technically, it wouldn't be a primetime under. We'll get to the late game here in Green Bay. But I must say, it did rise up, and Rhythm is leaning slightly over here with, even though they're caution flags, predicted numbers that are a little bit higher. So, Kate, any thoughts on the total here? Did anything interest you in terms of the number? And also, were you a little surprised at all that we ticked up relatively quite a bit, 1.5 here on game day?
Yeah, I was watching it definitely as well. I already had my Houston play locked in as I was watching it, so I wasn't going to necessarily add in to the factors. But I think it goes back to the injuries, not necessarily so much as backing a system in a way. You have both, even both defenses you can see, because as far as I'm concerned, Houston's starting tackles, both of them are actually out. And like I said, you have Houston pass rush is good, Chargers pass protection is bad. You have potentially a really ugly cover in line here from a Harbaugh standpoint, the way that he probably schemes up something crazy. So, I mean, it all points to just both of these defenses really and how they limit both offenses, because going back to Woody Marks, if they utilize him in the passing game, which does that open up explosives? Like, I don't know. That's not necessarily me saying that it's going to happen. It's just saying a possibility of how they use him and how they utilize him could open up that potential. Do I think that happens? Potentially. That's why I took Houston kind of in a way, but it's a gamble because you're asking CJ Stroud to throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field. So, I mean, here we are. 41 though, in a dome, not necessarily weather in fact involved. Very low for a dome total, I must say. But that's how you know both these defenses are that good. And sure enough, there's a reason that number is that low. And teetering the offensive line injuries on both sides, I would probably lean under personally. But I'm not playing it. I'm just playing on my side.
Yeah, great breakdown there, Cade. You mentioned it is a dome, so that is a little bit of an edge there toward that over. But remember, that is built into the number when the odds makers are putting that out. In terms of some player props, you mentioned a quarterback that kind of caught my eye as we were looking at this one, and it is CJ Stroud. So CJ Stroud passing yardage. This is one of a few smart signals that are lighting up on today's games. And again, star quarterback going over. Typically, that's something that I don't just in a vacuum want to do because public's going to want to play the star quarterbacks, star players over. Am I with the public playing a QB to go over? And I must admit, QB overs are fun because every time you get 15, 20 yards, you're like, man, I'm one step closer. And it is kind of a fun sweat. But, is it something that everybody else is playing and therefore I'm with the crowd? So even though that may be the case, CJ Stroud, though, is not, Drake May or, Stafford or whoever you would consider the best quarterbacks right now. I think his reputation may not be quite as offensive minded as maybe the public assumes him to be. But this is a spot where I can get behind the CJ Stroud passing yardage over because Rithmm is telling us this is a bit of a smart play here. Now it's officially a smart signal. His over under in the betting market is only 219.5. Again, that's not a ton for a starting quarterback in the NFL. And Rithmm is predicting 247.6. So that is, that's more than 20 yards over, nearly 30 yards discrepancy for a quarterback in a dome in a tight game with a very short number. Is there a situation where technically they are a dog, so are they down and does he have to throw it a little bit more? Again, you have these tackles who are banged up, so do you dump it off, and try to get some of those yardage there? But it's rare to me that you see a star quarterback, with a Rithmm prediction over. It just doesn't happen too much. Like you and I do a lot of shows, Cade, where it's play the under on these guys because they're overvalued. So I'm leaning pretty hard here on the CJ Stroud over passing yardage. And again, that is a smart signal, not just a Green Star recommended play, meaning that this situation for quarterbacks with this number, with their experience and their results, with the price of the odds, that's a pretty valuable play there. So any thoughts on CJ Stroud? Do you agree with this over, Cade?
Yeah, going back to again of what I've said about the explosiveness and in this offense specifically. The Chargers, they are the NFL's best defense against passes thrown 20 or more yards downfield. Like league low 40.1 passer rating on those attempts. Nonetheless, 219, looking at this guy's pass numbers, like you said, that is not a lot. You don't need a whole lot of downfield passes to hit this number. This is nothing but crossers, outs, whatever, just first downs, just like keeping the chains moving and getting quality drives. That's really all this is. And it's not that, it's not a complicated number. Nonetheless, my model has it at 227. Again, if I got both agreeing and I'm on Houston already, I like where my quarterback's at. So I'll take that bet. I'll also get a health check on Rithmm here because we've got 2 overs in back-to-back weeks and they're Green starting favorites now. How about
yeah, bizarro world, man.
A little different approaches these last couple of weeks, but I think they both won last week too, which is even funnier. So it's like, are you sure? Sure enough, yeah, no, they're dead serious. So yeah, I'll write it. I like it.
I'm with you, man. And reminder, shop around, of course. And here's another angle of anytime you see a lot of these green check marks here or graphs that are pointing to an over. I think he's gone over, 6-3 his last 9 indoor game. There's also a game to me, Cade, where maybe a great live betting opportunity. Like let's say Houston gets out to a 7-0 lead, 10-0 lead. You can buy low on Chargers at a much better price. Flip it the other way. Chargers are up. I mean, the defense of Houston might, settle things down. So even if you don't have a pre-flop bet here, these tight games to me just provide a lot of value in the live line opportunities because you can get a way better number than what they closed at. So let's see if we can have Stroud cash this over for us. Now let's go to the next game here, Cade, because we got a great one here early and we got kind of an ugly one late night at Lambeau Field. So this is not Baltimore and Lamar Jackson against Green Bay and Jordan Love. This is Tyler Huntley against Malik Willis, 2 backup quarterbacks going at it here at Lambeau. And this one has been all over the place. And typically, Cade, I don't love even participating in games with backup quarterbacks because, number one, what do you expect out of them? They're a huge wild card. Number 2, the lines move a ton once it's confirmed that the starter's out and the backup's in. So if you didn't get a really good number early, you're kind of behind the eight ball with some of these backup quarterbacks. Now, you could also say it's a bit of an equalizer because both these guys are backups. Then it gets into a conversation of who would you rather support, Willis or Huntley? In a vacuum, I'd rather support Willis. Who is it? The Bears game last week, incredible. Bears came back and won that thing. I was super happy because I was on Bears money line. But during the game, I'm like, man, Malik Willis, pretty good. He was making plays. Like he was looking pretty good. Tyler Huntley obviously doesn't generate as much offense you would assume, but he is a guy with quite a bit of an experience, and he kind of plays similar style there to Lamar Jackson. But with all that being said, I guess that's my way of saying like I am wary of playing either side in this one. But let's just talk about what the betting market is doing and how it's treating this matchup. If we look at the opener here, Cade, a lot of these books opened kind of a pretty short number here for Green Bay. Green Bay was around a 2.5-point home favorite. Once there was news that Huntley would be in for Lamar Jackson, we saw this line get all the way up to Green Bay -5.5. But then when Willis was in for Love, we saw that 5.5 now get all the way down to 3. And once again, with this game day movement, respecting the direction and how much it moves on game day, because again, those are the big high limit bets that come in. We're now seeing this down to 2.5. So anytime you fall off a 3, that's just super important to me because there's a lot of money on the line between a push, a cover, the dog might covering the 2.5, or the favorite winning by 3 covering the 2.5, or the dog, winning by or losing by 2 or less and covering the 2.5. There's just so much money on the line around a key number of 3. So that is a good sign for Baltimore. If you want to take the points here with Baltimore, they did fall 3 down to 2.5 today. And this happened, pretty not too long ago, like over the last couple hours or so. If we get into what Rithmm is thinking for this one, you do have some Ravens plays lit up here. So first recommended model, Ravens should only be getting basically less than a point, 0.9. Second model, you have Ravens 0.8. Third model, Ravens plus 0.6. So even though these aren't Green Star recommended plays, I must admit, game day movements coming back toward the Ravens, and the Ravens are, even though they're a caution flag, a recommended play here from Rithmm. And even if you're worried about the 3 leaving you, 2.5, again, you lose by 3, you'd hate to, lose that bet to 2.5, but Rithmm is saying it should be more closer to a 1-point game. I'll admit, Cade, I would much rather just tease up the Ravens. Like, I think that's a great teaser opportunity, 2.5, up to 8.5. That's that long teaser we were talking about, going through the 3 and the 7. It's also a very low total game. But unlike, and again, we also have a Ravens money line. Just win the damn game, Cade. That's lit up here from Rithmm as well. I don't have a side. I haven't participated in the side here, Cade. Let me throw it to you though. Did it surprise you with this line, game day coming back toward the Ravens? Was there a play to be made 3 or better with the Ravens, or 2.5, or tease them up? Does that interest you? Or flip it the other way, buying low on Green Bay at home, who's been really good at home. That's now a reduced opportunity as well.
Yeah, there's so many approaches and angles that you can take in this game to where I can't necessarily say that's a wrong move, because they're like, you can't really just pinpoint and just say that in this kind of case. It feels like whatever you do, it's more of just like a coin flip in a way. Like at this point, that's what it feels like. Like I was working today, and originally I had Ravens +3. I didn't even know Lamar was going to be out. I was assuming that you have Lamar Jackson going up against the Micah Parsons list defense. And I'm like, oh, dude, we're golden. We got the 3. We're sitting pretty. Bang, Snoop Huntley goes. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. All of a sudden, this line just shoots up to 5. And I'm like, what is going on? And then all this jazz. And it comes back down to 3. And I'm like, you know what? I ended up buying out, actually, which is even funnier. So I bought out of that, hopped over on the under. But then my full play became the teaser, like I was saying, on my Texans play. So I teased both dogs tonight, nonetheless. Classic long tease. Yeah, I got up to Houston, got the 7.5, got Baltimore up to 9 flat. Best numbers that I could really just do on both of those. You jump through the key on both. So I'm happy with it. Hopefully we don't see 2 blowouts consecutively and just straight chalk on both sides on a Saturday night. What would be better, right? But yeah, that's where I stand with that one. But then I know we have our total to speak of. So That was basically the
Yeah,
full play.
the total one is hard because if you look at the way it moved, I mean, when we thought both these quarterbacks, the starters, might play, you got an early opener of like 46 and a half. I
It
mean,
was
that
high.
that
Yeah.
has certainly fallen quite a bit. You're down to 38 and a half, 38. Now we were talking about Houston and the Chargers, where that was a game day move toward the over 39 and a half to like 41, 41 and a half. This game, 8 o'clock tonight, you're starting to see this total fall a bit. Like it was 38 and a half pretty much everywhere, painted across the board. Now it's juiced pretty good to the under 38 and a half minus 115. And now I'm seeing a bunch of 38. So that line is falling. You always got to be aware of Lambeau Field with the weather. Surprisingly, it's not going to be freezing, Cade. Like it's I'm seeing 37 degrees, around 10-mile-per-hour winds, a little bit cloudy here. So this is not a 15-degree, snowy, which visually, I wish we did have that tonight because it's always
No
pretty cool
Lambeau
to
Tundra,
watch.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, the frozen tundra. But also, you talk to like at VSiN, I worked with some former NFL players and Jeff Schwartz as well as Sean King and Mike Pritchard, and they would always tell me that when it's snowy, the public always thinks that means it's going to be an under because you would think in the snow, you're a little bit slower, it's harder to move around. But it's actually the other way. It's kind of the defense. It's harder for them to kind of cover the offense. So you actually see some snow games that go a little bit over. Excuse me, Cade. But all that being said, I like the under in this one, 38 and a half, from the standpoint of backup quarterbacks not putting up a lot of points, not being very good offensively. But you look at Rithmm, we have two caution flags on the over, expecting 42 and a half and 44 and a half, and you actually have a green star play 42.3. So again, you would think backup quarterbacks lean under. That was my initial thought, but it trips me up a little bit with Rithmm predicting this over, which I do have to respect. So any thoughts on this total, Cade? Were you kind of thinking the same thing with, lower scoring game backups, or, has it moved so much that maybe there is a buy low opportunity to go over?
Yeah, really funny story actually, because tonight we're having like our leftover dinner party for the people who couldn't make it, and so having
Nice.
a couple buddies over, and they're like, "Yeah, we got the game on tonight. Lambeau, it's going to be free." It's like they're thinking it's going to be outrageous, like snowing. I can't wait, man. And I'm like, I got bad news for you guys. It's like I'm just like I have the under. He goes just like, dude, but it's like, but it's like your app. He's like, your app literally has a green star on the over. Like, what's going on here? And I'm like, all right, I get it. So nonetheless, I'll rain on the parade, unfortunately. But yeah, it's the under for me as well. This should be probably one of the lowest scoring games of the year. Should be. Dear God, I can't stress it enough. I know I had the Cleveland under earlier this year, and it was a similar number, and that ended up like hitting like a 56 total as the final score. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So hopefully we don't get 20 points over the total tonight, boys. That'd be fantastic. But I think both offenses are going to be pretty conservative. I think both are kind of going to be relying on both of the running backs just to take pressure off the quarterbacks. You have two defenses that are pretty much brick walls in terms of against the run. So I like that aspect. Not to mention, I know you mentioned about the weather. It's not necessarily a temperature thing for me, though. This is a very windy game, and you have the high system wind, or the system for high winds that is in play for this one, which is going to directly impact both offenses in terms of efficiency and explosiveness and just scoring in general. I mean, you take special teams into account, you take the field goals, there's literally everything. So wind speeds are climbing to double digits. You have passing games with backup quarterbacks that might struggle with accuracy. You might have the play calling that might get a little bit wonky here and there. Can never trust the floor, even in December. I learned that one the hard way. Thanks for that in Denver, by the way. This is a very profitable system that is hitting at 57%. On a really high sample size. It's 618 to 457. So it's really high. And not to mention, both quarterbacks tonight that are both backups, strong, profitable under QBs. Big time. Combined, they are 12-3 in games with totals below 44 in their entire career. So nonetheless, even though it's fallen this much, I could care less. I'll follow the line movement and I'll back up with it. I have the 38.5. And yeah, like I said, I'm not going to be surprised if this is like teens, single digits, but obviously we have to be the boring people tonight, man. We always are.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. Give me like a 17-14 game. How about that? Yeah,
Right.
that would be ideal. And also to your point, you and I both like Roto Grinders, NFL weather, just an easy one to bookmark. But the latest update here: chilly temps in the 30s, light winds that could get stronger, chance for sprinkles and drizzle, likely later than early. Most models hold off any precipitation until 11 p.m. or midnight. So maybe you get it a little bit, wetter, or we'll see what happens and how the Wisconsin weather can change on a dime. That's something to keep an eye out for. Okay, there's one prop bet I want to throw at you because once again, we have a pretty good recommended green star play here on Josh Jacobs. So if you look at this matchup as Cade, good news for you. Looks like 7-0 Texans. So let's look at the live line for this one here. This is important. But as we get all that together, Cade, let me just tell you the Josh Jacobs rushing yards. Now this was lit up pretty good a little bit earlier today, so maybe it's back into a kind of a caution flag. Let me get to, where is it? Rushing. Let's see. Rushing yards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, was that Hutchinson?
I just saw that as 85 yards. Good
Yeah.
Lord.
Hey, CJ Stroud overpassing. You're now a third of the way there.
There's the explosiveness that I was talking about not happening. So
yeah, right off the bat. Wow.
On my side, though, I guess I'll take it. I'll take being wrong but being right at the same time. I'll eat my words.
And now, Chargers looking at the other way. I'm seeing plus 4.5 live line here, Cade. So that's maybe that's worth a bite here.
First,
just to finish off this one. Yeah, Josh Jacobs. Guy's been really good all year, ever since he came to the Packers. Great before that, even in college. But he's always a guy like injury report. Is he playing? Is he not? Is he playing? Is he not? I noticed there's no injury designation for Josh Jacobs. So if Malik Willis, your backup, is playing, I would assume you'd lean on Jacobs here. And he is sitting at around 51.5 rushing yards in the market. He is predicted 92.5. That is a massive discrepancy there. Basically 40 yards difference. And it is a smart signal here. And if you look at Jacobs in this spot, he's gone over this number in 7 of his last 10. And if you look at his trends and just isolate the home games at Lambeau, he's gone over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight. So Jacobs caught my eye. That's a guy who, again, theoretically would be a popular play from the public. But Rithmm is saying with all these icons, as well as, here's the new one, the parlay piece icon. So if you wanted to involve him, as well as some other bets you're eyeing, could be worth a look. So that Jacobs over really jumped out to me. Kate, any other thoughts on this one? Player props, anything, or should we move on to a few more games for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm glad you hit on that one because that's actually one of the only other ones that I did have this week. Going essentially back to what my original cap was saying is that I just think both sides rely on the running backs. In this case, I think Jacobs is the more reliable option than Derrick Henry, given the model discrepancy. I made him upwards close to 67 and some change there. So yeah, again, when, like I've always said, when both are agreeing, I'm on it. 90 plus though is insane. That's a 40-yard difference. Is that what that said? So right. I think that might be one of the highest ones we've seen this year. That's crazy. So yeah, I definitely like that one a lot more now. I didn't even know that it had it originally, but God, I do now. I guess.
Yeah, that's a big one. And also, like, sometimes you will see discrepancies like that, but it'll be a caution flag. So, for example, Derrick Henry, he's kind of similar. 73, a little bit higher, predicted 91. That's a great discrepancy, but a caution flag with maybe some, some things to, worry you a little bit there. So, anytime you can get a recommended play with a discrepancy like that, that definitely gets you pretty excited there. So I think we're all big Josh Jacobs fans for tonight. Let's look at some games this weekend, Cade. If we scroll down, there were a few that you and I had texted about, talked about a little bit, and I wanted to start with the Panthers and the Seattle Seahawks. This was interesting because on the one hand, Seattle surging 12-3, had that incredible comeback against the Rams in overtime, just unbelievable. I was like, Cade, I had Seattle when they're losing. I'm like, what an idiot I am for once again believing in Sam Darnold as he, throws it away and gets sacked and fumbles and turns it over. But give the guy credit. He did not totally crumble and came back and had a great winner there. But then Carolina, man, you got to give them some respect. They've really gone win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. They're kind of back and forth, but they're 8-7 on the year. They're 5-2 at home. And if you look at the matchup in this game and the way kind of the public is reacting, they're just saying, give me Seattle all day. Seattle is the better team. Don't believe in the Panthers. Questions still out about Bryce Young, even though he's played pretty well this year. Right now, you are getting upwards of 65% of spread bets laying it with Seattle. Yet we've seen this line fall a bit. So we've gone from Seahawks -7.5, now down most shops to Seattle minus, what is it now, Cade? -7. A lot of these books are 7 flat, -110 both sides. This is a game to me where, again, if you're seeing the 7.5 get down to 7, that tells me that there was some respect in money taking the dog plus the hook, bringing that thing back down. So that was a key to me that Carolina and the hook had some value here. You also look at selling high, of course, on Seattle, who's played great, maybe buying low a little bit on a Carolina team that maybe is better than the public thinks. But it all comes down to these rhythm recommendations for me, Cade, because if we look at these rhythm plays, they're all on the Panthers, all three. And 2 of the 3 are Green Star and Smart Signal. So the first model has Panthers plus 6.6. Now, if you can still find that 7.5 across the market, which is very important to me, and it is pretty much widely available, FanDuel, The Score, Kalshi, Fanatics. Then you look at the second model, Green Star recommended 6.1. So again, you're getting a 7.5. You can find that hook. Rhythm's around a 6. Panthers plus 7.5. You're kind of right on the dot there. But whenever I can see a line move toward a dog, I can still get the hook, and Rhythm is telling me I should play that dog. That's something that gets me excited, Cade. So what are your thoughts here? Are you liking Panthers? Maybe you lose the game, but lose by 7 or less and cover that number.
Yeah, I'm with you here again. Yeah, I wouldn't. This is a kind of a decent simple cap as well. I looked at the models first for this one, and essentially it felt like the perfect buy low spot coming off of one. You have an incredibly perfect letdown spot on the Seattle side. I mean, it could not get any better on that. And Carolina, you have somehow leading the South after their win. And it's both sides are lining up perfectly. You have a team that's really motivated. You have another side that is pretty much, I believe they clinched last week as well, if I'm not mistaken, correct? So, I mean, now they're playing for as a 1 seed, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So, motivation factor, I guess, obviously it's still there. Both teams do care. Essentially, it's just both teams are going to be incredibly competitive. I just don't see there's a touchdown difference between the both, if I'm being completely honest with you. So, big letdown spot in my opinion. I think they kind of come out a little bit sleepy. And yeah, I'm with Rhythm here again.
Yeah, I'm with you again. That's 7.5. Super, super important. That's one of those plays where you want to get it a day before or get it now still before that hook falls. And let's say they lose by 7. If you did your homework, got it in early, you cover with the hook. If not, you push. So super important to jump on that now if you like it. Rico Dowdle caught my eye too, Cade. Kind of weird the Cowboys let him go. I mean, Javonte Williams has been great, but this is a guy that was a great signing. Not a lot of star-studded highlights for him, but he really has been a great signing here, and he is predicted over 46.5 rushing yards with a prediction of 64.9. So if you look at his trends, he's pretty involved in the offense. You have Chuba, but still, this is a guy that can break one off for you, and also he's done pretty well at home with this rushing prop. So I don't think you want to just give the ball back a ton to Jackson Smith and Jigba. You want to maybe control this game, keep it lower scoring with Dowdle. That makes a lot of sense going over 46.5 again with Rhythm predicting closer to 65. So he caught my eye as a possible player prop. Let's keep going here, Cade. You and I were talking about this one too. Buffalo Bills at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this is going to be one of the most heavily bet games of the weekend. Who knows? Maybe a Super Bowl matchup, although some other teams obviously are in the mix as well. But this definitely moved. I mean, if you look at the opener here, Bills were favored around 3 at one point, -2.5, -3. This line is now all the way down to 1.5 or 1. So I think you can look at it one of two ways, Cade. Either one, it's very clear that Philly is taking in the smart money and that line is dropping in their favor, or has it moved so much off the key number that now Josh Allen is a really good buy low play at a very cheap money line price, like minus 120. Now, if you look at the splits on this one, let's see the updated numbers, because it was always interesting to me, like, how does the public handle this? Is it Eagles dog, you got to play it, or Josh Allen super short favorite at home, you got to play it? Well, right now you're getting around 60% of the spread bets on Buffalo, but 70% of the money. So it doesn't look like just public, but also low bets, higher dollars with some smart action. And you also have a Bills really good split at circa on the money line just to win the game. 38% of bets, 63% of dollars. You also look at some systems here like non-conference favorites. Typically I lean toward the favorite in that matchup. Just lack of familiarity, not really knowing your opponent. Typically that benefits quote unquote the better team. Both off a win, take the home favorite. That's a 71% money line system this year. Josh Allen as a home favorite straight up in his career, 42-8, 84%. He's 4-1 straight up this year. That only loss was to the Patriots in that Sunday night game. So again, if you tell me like Eagles, I'm going to say, yeah, the line's moving in your direction. But if we look at what Rithmm is recommending we do, they're saying, hey, this is a really good spot to buy low on the Buffalo Bills. So Green Star recommended Bills minus 2.9. We have a Green Star recommended Bills minus 1.5. We have a caution flag at minus 3.9. That gets you pretty pumped to go Buffalo there. And then we also have 3 recommended money line plays, all lighting up on Buffalo. So I'm thinking about buying low on the Bills here. Cade, you can get them around minus 120, pretty cheap price. We're getting a good number. Yes, it's moved because some money came in here on Philly. But I'm thinking Bills at home. They just got some kind of mojo there, Cade, at their stadium. So in terms of the weather, wanted to mention this too. You and I were talking about it. It's not going to be a freezing cold snow game, but it looks like it could be really rainy. So we'll see how that rain affects both teams here as well as the total. But any thoughts here, Cade? Are you going Bills Mafia with me? I'm leaning money line here.
Anything to fade Philly. I think they're one of the more other overvalued teams in the market. Similar to the Chiefs, really. I'm not high on this team at all. I don't think I have been all year. And it's one of the more profitable fading teams, honestly, in terms of the spread or straight up standpoint. And I don't like them as a dog. I'll tell you that right now. Sirianni as a dog, I don't think his numbers are that great, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, simply put, Bills at home, Josh Allen at home. It feels like is this the last home game of the year at regular season?
I believe so. But also, Cade, you got another touchdown. 14-0 Texans.
50. Dude, he's torching me on these explosive plays after I just highlighted the entire time.
And what's his passing yardage? He's way over 100 now.
Am I I'm like, do I be happy about it or like wrong? I was so wrong on that explosive statement.
Wow, Rithmm, man. I mean, don't want to jinx this and mush it, but that passing yardage for Stroud, incredible start there if you followed that Rithmm play.
Who was that one to? I mean, I have it up, but I didn't see.
Is it Noel?
Wow, yeah. 75 and 43. Good Lord. He's 4 for 4 on 2 touchdowns. So 4 passes, 2 touchdowns.
142 yards. Rithmm looking good on that over, man.
Chargers are best of defense in the league at allowing 20 yards. Yeah, give me a break. All right.
Well,
go Texans, I mean. That's all right.
Yeah, no.
Whatever.
And also, Chargers have gotten up big and lost. Remember that playoff game with Jacksonville where they're up like 31-0 at half? I forgot what that was, but we'll see if maybe they can come back here. But great start for those of you who are on the Texans. Let's keep it going here, Cade. Just 2 more games I want to run by you. Jacksonville and Indianapolis Colts, I should say. I was one of those people who took the Colts in the points and beat the closing line and felt pretty good when Old Man Rivers was, making plays and, taking the lead, tying it up. And then the wheels fell off and the Colts got absolutely just destroyed there by the 49ers. But can they cover this number? Because at home, the Colts are playing the Jags, divisional matchup. You and I love these divisional dogs with that built-in familiarity, leveling the playing field, benefiting the team getting points. Jacksonville, riding high, never been better. With, obviously a huge turnaround under Liam Cohen. Then they go to where is it? Denver and win at Denver. I mean, that like never happens. So maybe the Jags are legit here, but also are we buying super high on Jacksonville? Like this is this a fade spot where divisional game, you know, we always know that Jacksonville owns Indy at home when they're in Florida, but is this a spot where are they due for a letdown? That sort of thing. Colts here will get, I believe, Sauce Gardner back for this game. But if you look at the splits here, no one wants to play the Colts. Again, the story of Rivers is interesting. It's fun, but that doesn't mean people want to bet their hard-earned money on Rivers. So right now, 75% of spread bets at DraftKings are going with the Jags. But if you look at the line move here, the line's not going toward the Jags. It's falling toward the Indianapolis Colts. In this spot, we saw Jacksonville open around -6.5, -7 at some shops. You're now down to 6, even 5.5. So pretty clear this line is moving toward the Colts. And again, those divisional dogs, they've been pretty good historically, about 54% ATS this year and since 2020. And also a system, Cade, I know you like dogs off a blowout loss. You lose by 20 or more, come back the next week. They're actually a pretty good buy low play. They're 20 and 15 ATS this year, 57%, 56% since 2018. All long-winded way of me saying I'm going to bang my head against the wall with Old Man Rivers again here, Cade. I'm looking at the points. I think one concern is it has moved a lot, so you can still find a 6, I believe, but you probably are not going to get the hook there anymore. But if you look at these rhythm recommendations, we have Colts plus 1.2. We have another caution plus 2.4, and we have a Colts Green Star plus 1.3. So Rhythm is telling you it should be about a 1-point game, 2-point game. You can still get a 6 if you shop around, which, again, always make sure you do that. And it looks like Kalshi is still giving you the hook here, but there are a couple 6s available. What do you think here, Cade? Any chance that Colts can cover this number, maybe lose, but lose by a field goal?
I liked the Colts a lot initially. I just waited too long. I know we talked about this one a little bit before too, and this number was long gone before I wanted it, and I blinked and it was So I wanted that 7 really bad, and then I wanted the 6.5 really bad, and then they're both gone. So this might be one where I kind of look for alive. These divisional matchups have been pretty good as of late, I would say. So I think you might find yourself in a tighter game, or if you have an early score on one side and you see that 5 jump up back up to a 6 potentially, or you see it maybe get up to a 7, depending on how the game's tracking. I definitely want the Colts at some point. I just need to find my 6 or probably I want to say 6 or 7 is where I want to be at for this one. Really, 5.5 is just obviously such a weird number to be at, but yeah, I would play it at the 5 depending on a decent price. But again, I just don't know if I'll get that because I think they're starting to juice it. I think from the last time I looked, so I might just bite my couple of cents and look for something live there. But yeah, I would lean Colts definitely here.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Again, you can still get the 6. That's important. And again, 5.5, you mentioned it, kind of a no man's land, dead number there. But what's the next move? Like, does it get back up to 6? Which again, you want the 6, but you kind of want it to maybe get down to 5, just if it's clear that money continues to pour in on the Colts. There's one prop that jumped out to me, Brian Thomas, who, again, had just an incredible rookie year, has kind of dipped off a little bit this year. They have Parker Washington, who's been great, Jacoby Myers, who they picked up. But he is actually lighting up his over catches here, Kate. Over 3.5, basically can get you 4 catches. Rhythm is predicting 4.8. So that's almost nearly a full catch and a half discrepancy there. My question would be, who covers Thomas? Is it Sauce Gardner? Does he go with Washington? Like, obviously, I'd rather Gardner cover someone else. But still, this matchup, maybe an opportunity here to look at Brian Thomas getting you 4 catches or more, which is a smart signal play. Let's wrap it up here, Cade, because I know you and I want to go sweat this Houston-LA Chargers game. But let's look at a game here that seems gross, but is right up our alley, and it's a divisional dog, unpopular with a line move, and it happens to be Mr. Shedeur Sanders. So this one is interesting because 83% of spread bets at DraftKings are on the Steelers. Steelers had a kind of looking back on it, like, wow, really impressive win that you go to the Lions and win that game. But then now we look at the Lions. They went to Vikings on Christmas and got, pretty much blown out there. So is it as impressive as it was? Maybe not. But still, Tomlin's going to have his winning year. So you can, update that system to 20 straight winning years or whatever it is. But this is a play where Steelers have won 3 straight. Browns have lost 4 straight. Now they did cover against Buffalo. I think they're getting like 10.5 or something in that game. And they kind of gave them a scare. They ended up losing by 3. But everyone and their mother's on Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh opened this game minus 4.5. They're getting 83% of bets. Yet we're seeing this line get down to basically 3. And can you even get a hook anymore? That would obviously be what you want. But it's pretty clear that line is moving toward Cleveland, even though everyone is playing the Steelers. Circa only has 24% of spread bets, but 93% of spread dollars on Cleveland. So a really, really sharp split on the Browns as well. It's also a dog super low total of 34.5. And you are, again, that divisional dog angle. So all the signs from a market standpoint are telling me to look at the Browns here, Cade. Now, they aren't green star plays, but they're all in the Browns here. Plus 1.8, actually minus 1.8. This model actually has Browns favored to win this game, and Browns plus 1.4. Again, can you find that 3.5? Let's just line shop real quick. Yeah, there actually are a couple books still offering it. So any idea? I know you're an Ohio guy here, Cade. Any love for Cleveland? Can they win it? I don't know, but can you find a hook and lose by 3 and cover 3.5? That sounds like it could be doable.
Right. Yeah. Being the Ohio guy, what we want to call it, we're Cincinnati area here. So if anything, despise both of these teams, just get this game over with. Who cares? We're just watching from the sideline. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I am on Cleveland in this game as well. Took a different approach on this one where I played a teaser essentially in teasing up Browns and then teasing up the total to take the under in this game. So I ended up getting I did 7.5. I have to look at my slip again. It's either 6.5 or it's 7.5. And then I had the under 42.5. I had the under more only because I like the key number 42, but I still think that this is a decent enough close marginal game according to the model standpoint. So I'm fine taking the 6.5. I don't need the 7 essentially when I have models all around saying that this is going to be less than 3. At that point, I'll trust the models at that point and take the value of it rather than teasing up to this plus 7.5 and taking the under 42. I'm not going to tease those up for that would be like minus 140 something. So if you just take away the 1 point and trust the model with that, you're already down to like minus 118 at that point. So that was my play in that one. A little different approach. And I know that I liked to get the total higher than I wanted and then still take the spread at only a 3-point difference. So I'll definitely trust the model in this case and saying it's going to be less than a field goal. But yeah, that's where I went with that one.
I'm with you. And again, this is another kind of weather play. You're like, oh, why is this total so low? Well, part of it is, Shadur hasn't been lighting up the scoreboard, but also this is a updated Roto Grinders forecast. Quote, it pours pregame. It's very windy postgame, but in-game chance of rain, sustained winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusts 20 to 25. Again, this is why you're seeing such a low. Again, just do your homework, confirm it, verify it. But if you see a low total in December, I mean, it's probably a windy weather game. So that low total, of course, would benefit the Browns and the points, lower scoring game, better chance for them to hopefully cover that one. So I'm looking at the Browns, and you can still get that 3.5. Let's just check out any player props jumping out. We do have a receiving yardage prop, Jerry Jeudy, who had a pretty good year and had some good stats. I picked him up in fantasy, Cade. Yeah, when it was with Jameis Winston, like he had a stretch there where it was like he was getting you over 100 yards every game. Kind of falling off here a little bit, but maybe that's a buy low opportunity. Jerry Jeudy over 29.5. Can he get you 30? Rithmm is predicting nearly 60, so 57.9. And again, bit of a buy low because he hasn't done a ton last couple games, but that is definitely one to watch out for. So that about does it for another edition of the Rithmm Rundown here. Always a pleasure to host a show with you here, Cade. Just want to remind everyone that we do have our parlay optimizer, which is it's here. It's beautiful. and it's ready to hopefully help you benefit in terms of your selection process of, okay, I want this parlay. What are the best legs from not just a personal bias feeling standpoint? Because we're not about feelings here, kid. We're about the numbers, the data. What are the optimal plays for me? So hopefully that will benefit everyone to make their best parlays if they're interested. And again, we have our leaderboard contest. Remember, start 25 for 25% off. But Cade, it's a Saturday. We're in that weird time after Christmas, before New Year's Eve.
Right.
But it's the weekend. I don't know what the weather's like in Ohio, but we got like almost a foot of snow here, so I was doing some shoveling.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's been cold, man. So
we're like 50s here right now. Like I'm in a sweater, but I mean I walked outside with shorts the last 2 days.
you never know where you're gonna get, man.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, let's see if we can cash some tickets. And again, want to thank everyone for tuning in. But take us home, Cade. Any final thoughts here, or should we sign off and go sweat some football?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Obviously, you have a slate full of bowl games today. If you guys are just absolute sickos and want to bet on these second and third string kids that we've never seen before in our lives, or bet on the NFL like we pretty much broke down all showed today. Closing down on the season, it's been a really good year so far. So looking to keep the train rolling this week and then circle back next week and then start the new year off hot. Definitely.
Looking forward to it, Cade. Well said, my man. And yeah, we'll figure out what we want to do next week because New Year's Eve is Wednesday. New Year's Day is Thursday, but then we got those college football playoff games we got to talk about. So I don't know, man. We'll text, but random Tuesday show, who knows? Or maybe the Friday after. We'll talk about it, but look forward to seeing you guys once again. But as always, on behalf of Cade and myself, thank you for tuning in. Hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you're going to have a great New Year here. And again, let's see if we can cash some tickets and win some plays, which is always the goal. But good luck, everyone, and we will see you on the next edition of